Okay, so a few weeks back, I told you guys I was going to make a video how I got the nickname FBI. So you got to go back a few years. At the time, Hertz Rental Car was being investigated for contacting the police, fraudulent work practices, getting people arrested on rental cars. So I got a car from Enterprise, a Nissan Versa, which had obviously a safety issue on the vehicle. I took the car, did what I was supposed to, drove it around, yada yada. Anyways, so that's because my car had broke down in Beaumont, Texas, purposefully, obviously. So I take the car, I go up to Oregon, I'm waiting around, and I get the message, okay, it's time to go back. So I start heading back to Texas to pick up my car. But you got to understand, the rental car isn't exactly being paid for, right? This was to ensure that I was going to be able to insert myself into a Texas jail once I got there. Well, that wasn't the original plan. That's just what ended up happening because something dramatic happened. Anyway, so this, I get to, I get to Texas. Cops come find me. Almost got shot in the backseat of a cop car in handcuffs. Thanks to the fine police officers there in Texas. Get inserted into a county jail where there are SWS gang members, convicted murderers. Armed robbery had gone down, and the feds were looking into a few characters. And then they had a guy who murdered this 12-year-old boy in a vehicular homicide case. Came in, blamed it on the mother. He was high. You know, he killed the kid. Just ran the red light, hit the back of the car, killed the kid. Not even remorseful. So I wrote up a psychological evaluation and for the judge and the DA on site in the cell with him, and then continued to kind of stir members, inmates, in the direction that was necessary to get certain information out of them, including this one kid that was being investigated in the armed robbery. Now, mind you, one of the guys had already rolled on everybody, and he was headed to the feds. And so I got into one cell. Obviously, it's a dormish kind of thing in a Connex box, and started working him. And he goes, man, you don't even know what I'm here for. And I turned around and said, armed robbery. Yeah. What? I said, yeah, your homeboy over there. I said, he already rolled on everybody. He's going to the Fed. Nah, he ain't going to the Feds, man. He's going to the state. We seen the paper. I said, nah, man. He's getting picked up by us. And then, he's going to serve his time in the Fed. I said, but didn't I tell you to listen to your attorney? I said, man, you done come in here and you done told me who had the gun, who used the cell phone, what house you went to, who was with you. And I told you, after you came back from your lawyers, I said, you don't need to talk about nothing. And he just couldn't help himself. Kids that, ultra smart kids who think they just can connive them way or just, I can weave my way through this. Watch me entertain this mob. I had the whole dorm rocking and rolling, right? Go back over to the other side. Got some SWS gang members doing stuff. They were part of a clique there in Texas that were robbing people, doing break-ins because they were all honked up on meth and other drugs. And so at one point, I got all of them to sit down at the table, and I played duck, duck, goose with them. And I told them, what each individual did in this little group. Duck, duck, goose. I talked to one kid. He was part of a ATF investigation, and I told him, I said, "Son, this is it. It's as far as you go. It's over. If you don't clean it up, you're never gonna get out of here." Right? Anyways, I ended up started sending out letters just to kind of, you got to understand that the jail had also had issues with correctional officers working with inmates to bring in whatever was necessary and create scenarios in which they could be violent. You know, someone went to snitching or someone went to this, or they just wanted to get after somebody. There had been an issue prior, and obviously there was it seemed like there was still a little bit of that left over. Now, prior to getting processed in, I let the judge know, put on the piece of paper, FBI, circled it, showed it to the judge, and he goes, "Look, man, I'm not worried about them." And I said, "Okay, now I know what direction this is going." Anyways, I got a few threats, And so my escape is to make sure that I get the message out, stir up enough heat to where I can get out, right? And I did. Cost me a little bit, but I did. And so how I got the nickname is some of the guys in there were telling me about their cases and wondering, how things were going and what to do, what to say. The guy goes, "Man, you smarter than you look." And I was like, "Well, thank you." Somehow this thing about the FBI came up, and then every time a new inmate would come in, they would be like, "Hey, man, this is this," and they all know each other, obviously, because they're from the state of Texas. And the guy goes, "Yeah, so this is so and so, this is so and so. Hey, and that guy up there, that's the FBI." Now, mind you, right? The first 3 days I went in there, I went completely silent and mute. I didn't speak. I acted like I couldn't talk, and I was deaf, right? And on the third day, I started speaking, and then everybody was like, "Whoa, dude, we thought you couldn't speak. We thought you was deaf or something." Oh man. Anyways, I wrote up all the reports. I sent them out. Gained a little bit more information on some people. Letting some people know that this was the end of their excursions, or And so hopefully the conversation steered those people in a direction that became more positive. Maybe that psychological report was presented to that kid and he understood, hey man, somebody's looking out for me and I got to clean my act up. Killed this kid. So that's just one of the things a lot of you guys don't know. I know some of the people that I went to school with are going to see this video, be a little confused. I know some of you might not understand, but I've been doing a lot of these things for a long time. A very long time. Even in my hometown. You know what I'm saying? I've done workups against the U.S. Army. I've done workups against local cops, doctors. I've done a little bit of everything over the last 20-something years. Saving lives one day at a time, you know what I'm saying? Trying to make positive changes around people before they get caught up or after they do, to make sure that they steer themselves in the right direction, get the help that they need, or get away from the people that they got to for the time being. Maybe even preach to them how to get better, that people are watching and it doesn't go unseen. So if you're out there, man, doing something, and I really mean this for people like in my hometown that I went to school with, just remember, you guys got eyes and ears and mouth on that level. Y'all make sure y'all doing the right thing. I'm proud of all y'all. I've been watching over the years. And so there's the story. I've left some parts out. Kind of just got to the point. They ended up leaving, got back in the car, went home to my dad in Florida, hung out for a little bit. He was sick with COVID, so I wanted to make sure he was okay. I hung around Panama City Beach for a little while, and then took off, went back to my hub up in Denver, Colorado, and then waited for the next assignment. And it's what I've been doing, y'all. Who knew?